Hey horror fans, thanks for joining me for this review of Gretel and Hansel. That's right, not Hansel and Gretel, but Gretel and Hansel. Uh, as usual, cast and crew information down below, along with some other things, including the plot by IMDb, which I will read real quickly. A long time ago, in a distant fairy tale countryside, a young girl leads her little brother into a dark wood in desperate search of food and work, only to stumble upon a nexus of terrifying evil. So, yeah, lots of evil going on, even some evil behind me. I don't know what the hell she's doing, but just ignore her. Um, anyway, so here we go again with Hansel and Gretel, or Gretel and Hansel, whichever way you want to go about it. I was a little surprised to see another one of these movies. I don't know why they continue to pick Hansel and Gretel, or Gretel and Hansel, whatever, to keep redoing. I'm sure there are other fairy tales that they could turn dark and evil and horror and so forth, but this seems to be a popular pick. There is darkness in the story, whether you're telling the real children's story or not. But anyway, they did it again, so here we go. And I was another thing that I was surprised about is going back to the Hansel and Gretel, the Witch Hunters. That was, I believe, the last one they did of this fairy tale, unless there was another version out there. I don't know, but that's the last one I remember. I always expected them to do a sequel to that. I thought that was a fun adventure. Maybe not a complete horror movie. That had horror elements, obviously, in the story, and witch hunters and so forth. But I always expected a sequel because I thought that was a fun movie or whatever. Again, not super on the horror, but at least a fun adventure kind of movie. And it wasn't 3D. I don't remember the 3D being fantastic, but at least it was there. But anyways, I guess that never happened. So here we are with Gretel and Hansel, and again, an interesting point here is the flipping of the names. Usually I've said it 30 times already, it's usually Hansel and Gretel, but this time it is Gretel and Hansel. And why is that? Well, this story is very Gretel focused. Hansel is there, he plays a role in it, but this story is very Gretel tilted, and it starts with her having some. There's something about her, something maybe you want to call it magical, maybe in witchcraft. There's something there with her early on, and obviously by the time the movie gets to its conclusion, you're gonna see more about that, and try not to spoil too much here, but you will see something that you will find out what it is that's inside her, or more about it. It will come out. So that's kind of to start, and to start in this movie, you do find out a little bit of how the witch came to be, or where the witch is in the woods, and then you hear her story per se. There is a little bit more to it that's revealed later on. I'm not gonna spoil that for you guys. But you do find out a little bit about the history of the witch, and how she ends up where she ends up to start in the movie, and then you get introduced to the two kids. Obviously, Gretel's a little bit older, Hansel's a young boy, and basically their mother's given up, and basically sends them out and tells them that they'll be better off if they go find another place to live, and work for food and so forth. So there's a lot put on Gretel's shoulders early on. Not Hansel's her brother, but in a way, it's almost her child. I mean, she's kind of responsible for him, and so they get sent out and into the woods and on a journey. And again, she's basically babysitting here. Hansel is a kid. He wants to investigate everything. He wants to run ahead. He's on the edge of getting in trouble, and she has to set him straight and keep him in line. And there's a little back and forth between the two, but it is a brother-sister relationship. And but yeah, Gretel feels the pressures and so forth of having that responsibility. There's a stop or two on the way. I don't want to get too much into that. It kind of foreshadows a little bit more to have to what eventually ends up with Hansel's story. But everybody knows where they ultimately end up, and that's at the witch's house. And the typical story here is that the witch tries to cook them, to eat them. But here in this story, it's not really totally in that direction, maybe a little bit. But what you find here is that the two kids spend some time there at first. Again, I'm only going to go so far. I don't want to spoil anything. But you will find that it's not an immediate, the witch wants to cook them and that's it. Here you have them stay with her for a while, and like they said earlier, Gretel's both of them are kind of responsible. They know that no one's just gonna give them food or there's no freebies here. They have to work for everything. So Gretel offers to do some chores, do whatever, earn their keep, earn their time there while they're there. So the witch kind of takes advantage of that and keeps them there, and then it's pretty well thought of that the witch also knows that there's something happening there with Gretel. So the witch kind of sits there and toys with that. So again, I don't want to go much further into what happens from here on out, but I think it's pretty set straightforward here that the kids start off and end up in the witch's house, and then you guys just have to see how this story turns out. The one thing about this telling is besides for being so Gretel focuses, it's a very dark tale. I know that even the basic story of this is its darkness to it, but this one's much darker. This is like really super different from the Witch Hunter movie. But this one's very dark. There's a dark tone to it the entire way. The film is shot very dark. When they get to the witch's house, of course her house has a dark tone to it. And then once you start kind of learning about the witch, you like I said, you learn a little bit more about the witch there, and then of course what's going on with Gretel there. She has these dreams or these thoughts or whatever, and just everything's dark. There's just a darkness here all around, and so it's that way. It's not a rated R movie. There's not blood and guts and everything like that. It's PG-13, which is fine because this is not a large killing movie. It's not about that. It's about the supernatural and magic and witchcraft and so forth. But it's very dark in that respect. The film is shot very nicely and so forth. And a lot of it is put on the actress who plays Gretel, and I thought she did a pretty good job. But everybody did a pretty good job. But coming to a conclusion here, I'm still kind of split on this movie. I'm not hating on it, but I'm not loving it. Maybe this obviously isn't first and foremost my type of horror, my type of movie. Um, but again, I didn't hate it. I'm not sitting here trying to complain about whole things about the movie. Um, but I wasn't wowed by it. I didn't love it. I'm not here to say, oh my God, go see Gretel and Hansel. It was so amazing. Um, again, I don't know why we continue to have this fairy tale. I'd rather see maybe them try some different fairy tales. But this one has its thing. Focus on Gretel, making it real dark, and so forth. And then obviously, a little bit of story between Gretel and the witch there. So there's a little bit of uniqueness in their story here. But again, I'm very not pulled in either direction. I'm very down the middle on this one. I think if it comes across you and you're interested enough in the story, check it out. If you're just not into the fairy tale or witchcraft kind of thing, supernatural, then maybe you want to pass. I don't remember what it did box office wise. I'm gonna guess it didn't do fabulously or anything like that. I don't know what it's done since it's if it's on DVD yet or not. I don't know, but yeah, like I said, I can't swing you either way. So I'm just gonna give it 2 pools of blood because it's just, for me, it's just there, and I don't know that I'd watch it again. And again, not a slight on the movie. Just it just didn't swing me too far in either direction. Maybe it'd be fair to give it 2.5 pools of blood, and split it right down the middle. But yeah, it's there's nothing bad about the movie. It's not poorly done or poorly acted or whatever like that. But I wasn't blown away by anything about it either. I just thought it was a good, little bit different story of the fairy tale. So I don't know if any of that helps or not. And I tried not to spoil really what's going on here, but you're familiar with the fairy tale. You know enough. So with that, I guess that'll be my review of Gretel and Hansel, not Hansel and Gretel. I had to say that one more time. Hopefully the witch hasn't put a spell on me while doing this review. And again, all the information you need down below, including where to find more reviews, horrorosagoryreviews.blogspot.com. That link will be down below, along with social media. Feel free to comment if you've seen this movie. Feel free to let me know what you think. You agree, disagree, whatever, that's fine. And I guess until next time, horror fans,